first examples, first EC2 instances. So that time we saw how we can use the provider block and where we can get the complete details of the provider blocks and how you can go and get the resource blocks, right? And what is the resource block? Resources are the most important element in the Terraform language. The resource is the most most important element of the Terraform language, and each resource block describes one or more infrastructure objects. One or more infrastructure objects such as virtual networks, compute instances, higher level components such as DNS records and all this. So when we saw in our last class the resources, so if we just go to the resources class here, just go to the Terraform resources, right? Just go for the registry, Terraform providers, and there you go for, suppose we are working on the AWS. Suppose AWS cloud infrastructure, go to the documentations, and there in the left-hand side, AWS documentations, you can find this AWS resources. Okay, now if I just go to this AWS resources, you can find EC2 instances and whatever resources. See, whatever services AWS provided, all these services as a resource you can find in the Terraform documentations. And this provider, actually the official provider of the Terraform, and you can find all kind of resources, the how what is the parameters and what is the argument to be used, everything will be explained over there. Suppose I want to work on the EC2, right? Suppose I want to work on the EC2. So what you have to do, you have to go to the EC2 Elastic Compute Cloud section here, and you can find the resources. What are the resources you want to do, right? So if I just go to this here, suppose if I go to the desktop, there I had created a file called, folder called Terraform, right? Terraform. And here we had this particular procure server. In our last class we had talked about, right? So if we saw this procure server, we had this required providers block, Terraform block, and here the which provider we have, and these are the keys, access key and secret key, which I had kept here in this particular machine directly in this particular configuration file. So do you think this is the right way to create and right way to add? No, right? So what you can do here, instead of adding this access key and secret key, what you can do else? Can anybody tell? If you have knowledge or at least experience on AWS or some knowledge on AWS, you should know how to set up this configuration file, these credentials, access key and security, how we can secretly store this. Fajan, do you have any idea? Instead of adding this, we already have discussed in our AWS classes.
We have done some password hiding in Ansible, but no idea about this.
Okay. Now, in AWS, have you attended like the AWS classes? You started with AWS classes, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that time there you remember we had learned about something to connect to through CLI, how we can connect. So Dilip.
Yes, using the IAM, Identity Access Management, then creating a user and generate access and secret.
You didn't understand my question, right? My question was, so I have this secret key and access key, right?
Yes.
How can I hide this one, or how can I set up, configure on this system so that I don't have to add these keys directly here in this configuration file? How can I do that?
Using the variable.
Okay. Then
variable that tf on directly used, then whatever use the variable, then that value it's here is meant put there, put here.
so anybody can also open the variable.tf file, right? Anybody can open the variable.tf file and you can see the data, the key and
Yes,
password is seen, right?
yes.
But without providing this access key and secret key, how we can set up in the backend so that we can connect easily. Okay. So okay, that's fine. So for that, what happens? We have, if you heard about AWS CLI, so AWS command line interface. Through that, what we can do, we can add this one, right? Now, so this access keys, first let me go through this, whatever resources. So this is the only one resource we had added so far in our last discussions. So only one AMI and instance time. Now, let me show you how we can hide this particular access key and secret key. That will be very important, Dilip, just remember, okay? Now, what I can do here, so I can just simply go. Before that, let me first see whether this is working or not. In our last class, we had deleted this access key and secret key, right? Now, if I just try to do, first thing what we should do, this is a question. First thing, when you write your configuration file, Terraform configuration file, first command what you should use. Listen my question carefully. If you are going to write a configuration file, Terraform file, when you wrote your first Terraform file, what command should you execute to start with?
Yeah. Firstly, you have command use Terraform init command. After that, Terraform validate syntactical error. Then I have so the Terraform plan. If any changes, if any delete or adding Terraform plan, and after that I have a command use Terraform apply command. Then all the resources whatever you configure, then that resource are created.
Perfect. The first thing is we have to use Terraform init to initialize the environment, to initialize the provider, whatever we have used. Okay, so that we have to first use. See here, what says I use Terraform plan here. So init is not required here because we already have initialized this in our last class. That's why I did not use Terraform init. So first what I did, we directly use Terraform plan. So why we use Terraform validate, Dilip?
Any syntactical error, like if you any not correctly, like what?
Okay. Any syntactical issues or any kind of writing code, if you find any kind of issues with the code, whatever you have written, so it will throw error. It will give you the information that this is the issues and you have to write it. So whatever blocks you have written before executing the Terraform, if you validate it, it will give you the informations where you need to fix it. Okay. So even though if you don't use directly in plan also, it will show. In plan, what does Terraform plan? What it will do? It will first validate and then plan it. Okay. Now what I'm going to do here? What happened? Terraform encountered an error while generating this plan. What is Sage? Request ID and this error invalid client token. So security tokens, we are not able to use this one. Now what happens because of this access key and all? So what happened here? If I just, let me just remove the, what is the file name? Procure. Okay, let's remove this access key and secret key. Fine. Now I remove this access key and secret key. So let me just add it and configure it in the system itself, so that next time whenever I execute, it will not ask for any keys and secret keys, right? So what we can do here, now let's do AWS CLI. If you would have heard about this AWS CLI, right, in our AWS classes, we would have done this AWS CLI and you would have learned this. See, that is why any infrastructure tool, before you are going to learn, you should know how to use the AWS CLI. And you should know how to use the resources in AWS. Okay. Now to set up this, what we have to do, we have to use AWS CLI config. AWS CLI config, hit enter. So what is it? It says AWS CLI is not found. The command is not found. So that means AWS CLI I have already installed, but for that, what we should use AWS. If I just hit enter, see AWS, it gives me AWS is all this usage, how you can use it. That means you have to use first AWS, not AWS CLI config, you should use AWS config. AWS config. Okay, let me clear this screen. You have to use AWS config. Okay. What happens here? Invalid choice configure. So it is giving to either configure or app config. So what do you have to do? Now we have to use configure. AWS configure. Hit enter. Then it will ask for access key ID. So first thing, we have to provide the access key ID. Already actually the access key ID is set up. Okay. So what I can do, I can just quickly go ahead and create one more access key so that you can just check it out. Where I can create it. Let's go to the, where can I get it, this access key ID? IAM, right? Let me quickly create one more user. TF demo. Let me see if I have this TF demo is there. TF Terraform user access, not this one. Okay. So what I can do, I can quickly download the access key. Okay. Go to the security credentials and access key, create one access key. So I can just give third-party service and I understand. Next, create access key. So we got this access key here. So what I can do here, I got this access key, right? So go here, provide the access key here, done. And similarly, you have to copy the secret key here. Done. Up south one default region, hit enter, format none, done. So I have now integrated and configured the access key and credentials on this system itself. So next time, if I just do Terraform plan, it will directly connect to the AWS and plan it accordingly. Now the connectivity will happen because we have set up, see, it perfectly worked, right? Now, if I just open this particular file, see, we don't have any access key on here. So as this access key is configured on your system, will anybody can see that one? No, right?
No.
This way you have to set it off securely. Okay, all your credentials. This is very important. You definitely get questions in the interview. You might get questions. Okay. Now what we can do here? Let me quickly go through other parts. So resources you understood. Now what you can do? Let's go with the Terraform Statefile. So what is this Terraform Statefile? This is very important, guys, Terraform Statefiles. So whenever you are working on the infrastructure automations using the Terraform, if I just see what we did, we have executed this particular Terraform file, right? .tf file. This is the Terraform configuration file. If you see here, we have not created this file, right? Who created this one? This one was created by the Terraform apply command. So when we apply the Terraform configuration file, what it will do? It will create a state file. So what is this state file contains? The current status of the infrastructure. The current status of the infrastructure. Let's see. Terraform stores the state of the infrastructure, the current state. There will be two states, current state and desired state. Okay. So what it says, Terraform stores the state of the infrastructure. So when we say the state of the infrastructure, that means which state currently the infrastructure is. Now suppose we executed to create one resource. Think about one EC2 instance. So what is the current state of that infrastructure, that instance, that resource? That will be captured in the TF state file. Terraform stores the state of the infrastructure that being created from the TF file. If you have created manually, it will not captured there, right? So through TF file, through this Terraform file, if you have created anything, it will be captured. It will create one state file. See, this is the state file. And it will contain all this information. Now, as you can see here, the Terraform state file is only 180. If I just open this particular file, let's see what it contains. Nothing is there. Why? Because we, in our last class, we had already used Terraform destroy. So when you use Terraform destroy, the infrastructure will not be there. So the current state will be null, nothing will be there. So that's why check results null here. Same time, it will also take a backup of the existing Terraform state file. So if I just open this backup file, which was taken, so if I just do cat, see, this backup file is having all the informations about the infrastructure, about the resources, which was created as part of this Terraform TF file executions, right? All these informations available here. See, got it? Now, so this state allows Terraform to map real world resource to your existing configurations. So it will map the real world resource. Real world resource means whatever the resource you have created and which is currently running on the AWS with the existing configuration, which is your Terraform file. And the Terraform TF state will be created under the folder where the TF file present. So if you see here, remember, this will be created where your TF file is present. Means in this particular directory. In this particular directory, your TF file will be there. Remember, wherever your TF file will there it will the TF state file will be created. Okay. Now, as I said, there will be two states. One will be the current state, another one will be the desired state. So what is the desired state? The desired state will be the Terraform's primary function is to create, modify, and destroy infrastructure resources to match the desired state described in the Terraform configuration file. So remember, desired state is something which you have written in the Terraform file. So here, what the desired state we have written in the Terraform file. See, this is the resources T2 micro. It should, the instance type should be T2 micro, and the AMI should be used this one. So this is the desired state. This is what we need. We desire to be created with these informations. That should be your desired state. So all your Terraform wants that your resources, whatever you have created, should be in a desired state. Okay. Now, what is the current state? What is the current state? Current state is something which is actual state of your resources that is currently deployed. Means, suppose I execute this Terraform file. What will happen? It will create with instance type is T2 micro, right? If suppose if it is created that one, and desired state will be what exactly available in this resource file, in this TF file, and the same will be reflected on the server also with the T2 micro. Okay, so now the server, whatever is created, will be the desired state as it matches with your TF file, right? Suppose somebody modified the instances manually, logged into the server and manually modified. So now the current state will be changed. Suppose someone modified to T2 nano. Suppose someone modified to T2 nano. What will happen? The current state will be T2 nano, but the desired state will be T2 micro, right? The desired state will be T2 micro. So now you understood what is the desired state and the current state. So always, whenever Terraform you execute, Terraform ensures that you should always be mapped with the desired state. Means whatever will be there in the TF file, it should be mapped to the desired state. Now, if I just see, if you see this particular diagram here, right? Current state is the actual state of a resource that currently deployed. So there is important points to remember. Terraform tries to ensure deployed infrastructure is based on the desired state. Based on the desired state. Terraform tries to ensure that the deployed infrastructure is based on the desired state. So what is the desired state? Yours is the T2 micro, and this image is your desired state. If somebody changed T2 nano in the manually in the server, then that will be your current state. Current state is suppose T2 nano. Whenever you again execute the TF file without changing same T2 micro, it will forcefully remove the current state and it will make. So if you see here, the desired state always try to make the current state. It will just tell go back whatever the current state you have. So this particular example, okay, particular example will do whenever we just have this hands-on whenever we do. Okay, now I'll show you how it works. If you run the Terraform plum, it will try to change the current state. Okay, now, so current state we just understood, right? What is the state? Now let's do an example there. Okay, I'll quickly do it. So with this particular things, let me go ahead and create. Okay, be careful and listen what I'm doing. If you have any doubt, just let me know. So this is the file. What I have to do, Terraform plan I already have done. It's not required. I am sure that whatever is given there is absolutely fine. So I can go ahead and use Terraform, apply directly here. Hit enter. So what it will do, based on the configurations file, Terraform file, it will procure or it will create the infrastructure, right? Yes. I'll show you how this current state and desired state works. Okay. Okay. Now we can see here one resource is added, and if I go here and refresh this page, now I have two instances started. Already one was running and another is just started and started initializing, right? This is what we created as part of our Terraform creation, infrastructure creations, right? Now, if I just go ahead and check our state file, see, now the Terraform state file has, yes?
Currently, we are in desired state.
Currently, we are into desired state. See, what happens here? No, see, not currently. See, that is, you have to still understand properly. See, what is the desired state?
Now we have written in configuration file the things we want, like.
So this is what our desired state. Whatever we have written in this Terraform configuration file, whatever you have written is your desired state. Okay, what is the current state? This whatever is created and whatever is currently deployed. This machine, if you talk about this infrastructure, this machine instance we created. So this is your current state. This is your current. So that means your current state and desired state is equal now, right? Whatever you desire, the same thing is currently available. Whatever you desire, the same thing is currently available. That means the current state and the desired state is now equal. You understood?
Okay, understood.
Yeah. Now, if I just go ahead and check the Terraform TF state file, right? Let's go here. See, the TF state file has also all the informations available now. So what happens here? The Terraform state file, if I just go here, the instance type is T2 micro and instance state is running. T2 micro and running. So the desired state is T2 micro. And same thing is available in the state file also, TF state file. And the state file will be stored as .tf state. .tf state. Okay. Now, let's do some changes here manually. I'll change something here. Okay. Go ahead. What I can do here, select this server. Okay. Now what I'm doing, it is running and T2 micro. So let me change this T2 micro to T2 nano or something else, right? What I can do here, go to action, instance setting, and credit specifications, user data, okay. Networking view details, manage instance state. Not perfect. So we have to go select it. Instance type, instance auto scaling stuff. Okay, change instance type. Okay, to change the instance type, first what we have to do, we have to first stop it. Okay, let's stop this one. Okay, it's stopping. Okay, now can you say, is the current state and desired state is equal?
No, not.
Why?
No. Because we have the desired was the micro. Now we are in nano.
No, we are still at T2 micro. See, we have not changed yet. We are still T2 micro. But still, will it be same?
Let's change the preview.
No, we have not changed, right? I just stopped it. So it will not be same because the instance state here is stopped, but our TF state file, what it contains? it contains the status as running. See, instance state is running, but here the current state is stopped. The desired state is running. So the desired state will be taken from the TF state file. From the TF state file. So now the current state is stopped and desired state should be running. Okay, fine. Now let me change this one to T2 instance settings. Now we can see here change instance type. Okay, let's change it from T2 micro to, suppose I'll use T2 nano. Okay, T2 nano. Select. Now let's apply. Okay, now I change to T2 nano. Now if I just run this, let's start instance. I started. So what happened here? I configured this instance through TF file, through Terraform configuration file, but I changed it manually logging into that server. So what? Sorry, I did a wrong thing. I changed this one to T2 nano, right? Okay, it's not okay. This server, perfect. Let me stop this one. Now our Terraform file is this one, not this one, right? Okay. So first we have to stop it. Just wait. Okay, it is stopped now. So we have to change this one, right? Action, instance settings, change instance type, T2. Change it. Now my current state is this T2 nano, right? So let me change this one to so whatever server we had created this particular server, right? This was initially it was T2 micro, which was created by the Terraform configuration file. Now the desired state is T2 micro. The desired state is T2 micro, but the current state is, if I just start running this one, let's start. And current state is T2 nano. So what will happen? Next time, when I just use Terraform apply, what will happen? We have this file, right? We have this Terraform state file. We have this Terraform TF file. So next time, if I just do Terraform TF file, what will happen? It will first check what is the status, what is the desired state. The desired state is T2 micro. Okay, but the current state is T2 nano. The current state is T2 nano. So what will happen? As per the Terraform configurations and Terraform behavior, what will happen? It will force the current state to be changed as per the desired state, right? So now if I just do Terraform apply, hit enter. See what is doing. See what it says. It is forcefully changing from T2 nano to T2 micro. From T2 nano to T2 micro. Now let's put yes. It will first modify. It will just modify the instance. First, it will stop change the, see now it was running. Now if I just refresh, it will be stopped. See, it is stopping. First it will stop. See, it is modifying means it will first stop that one, change the instance type to T2 micro from T2 nano, then start the instance. Okay, now let's see. So this TF state file, guys, actually it's a very big topic. Okay, maybe tomorrow classes again we'll talk about this TF state file. We'll see how TF state works. There are multiple ways we can handle it, and we need to understand the TF state more because you'll get lots of questions from TF state file alone. So there actually you would have seen that another command is written, which is TF refresh. This definitely will get questions on this TF refresh. So whenever there is any changes to the current state in the deployment site, if you want to get it as your Terraform state file to be refreshed, then you can use this Terraform refresh file. So this command will fetch the current state of the resource that has been deployed and also update the state file. Okay, and also update the state file. Now let me show you. Okay, so what happened here? 0 added, 1 changed. Now if I just go here, earlier it was T2 nano, right? Now let's refresh this. It's running, but it changed it to T2 micro. This is what the desired state. We should have this T2 micro as per the desired state. Now the current state and desired state are equal. Clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
So, okay, perfect. That's all, guys, for today's class. And as because majority of people are not there, so what we can do, we can continue the same class tomorrow. And there are lots of other things to discuss. Already we have already time. So tomorrow we'll try to start the class by 9:30, and we'll just continue until 11:30, 2 hours. Only we'll focus on the more parts on the TF state, and we'll discuss more detailed about other advanced topic of the Terraform. Now you understood clearly how to use the resource file, right? How to use the resource blocks. So if any providers, how to, first of all, I taught you in your last class how to use the provider block, how to use the providers, then how to use the resources of that provider, resources of that provider. Suppose if you want to use, just go back and suppose you want to use Azure's one or Google Cloud. So you have to go that provider and go to the documentations, and here you can find all this particular, see, App Engine. App Engine is the one where you can go and get your resources. See, Google App Engine. If you are good in the Google GCP Cloud, you can use this one, and you can just go here and it will give you with all examples, all resource blocks, everything. You can as equal as similar as the AWS, but different naming conventions, different attributes you'll find there in the different providers. So at least you should know, the first basic thing is you should know what is the provider and how to use it. And with all the resources, you can find it from the resource documentations of each providers. Okay, that's all, guys, for today's class. We'll meet up tomorrow with our more details about this Terraform, and we'll try to complete in another 2 to 3 weeks of time. No, not weeks, 2 to 3 days, weekends. Okay. Tomorrow it will be, we'll do another class which will cover theoretical most part, and then on Saturday